So in case any of you are lucky enough to not live in Pennsylvania, let me just fill you in on the glory of the state of independence. There was a major ice storm. People died. People sold their babies for gas money. Like, businesses shut down for days. People here just aren't used to ice storms, and to be fair, like, ice storms can really screw you up. 1 million people without power, myself included. It's a lot. But it doesn't have to be that hard. My landlord is making it really fucking hard. We've had some struggles with the generator. First, she broke it. So we get the generator up and running, and that was like a little bit of a fiasco because it's her generator, so she thinks she knows how to turn it on, but she doesn't. She doesn't realize that you have to turn the fuel on, as well as the ignition switch, as well as, I don't know, like upping the throttle, whatever you call it, on a generator. The choke. Yeah, you gotta, like, handle the choke. You gotta pull the cord, but you also have to make sure that, like, just like with a gas grill, you gotta make sure that the fuel is getting to the ignition source. And she wasn't doing that, and she's, like, calling me at work panicking she can't get it started, and, like, calls everybody she knows, and some guys come to look at a tree that's on my house. By the way, there's like 2 actually, and they tell her that since it isn't in my room, they're not going to take it off my room until they get the trees out of people's houses. So who knows when they'll be back. It's been 5 days. They're probably never coming back. They did chainsaw up the tree that fell on my driveway, so that was nice, but it would be nice if they took it off my house. Anyway, they couldn't get it started. Like, nobody's ever worked with a small motor. God. So that was the first fiasco. We dealt with it. Second fiasco, it ran out of gas and she couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So she's like hitting the ignite and off switch, like ignite off, ignite off, ignite off, ignite off. And like, and then pulling, like, she's doing that like some people would like fiddle with the choke and like try and get it in the right spot. She's like just pounding the ignition, and I'm not there, but she's telling me this, and I'm like, Lynn, stop. And she doesn't stop, and she can't get it going, and she like takes off, because what she likes to do when she panics is run, like physically remove herself from what's panicking her. So like I get there, and she says she's worked on it for hours, so like the damage is done. I get it to turn on. It's on for like 30 seconds. It turns off. She calls a redneck. Redneck shows up. Redneck sees me. Lynn has shown up now. And Lynn, and is like, oh, ladies can't pull the cord hard enough. So he pulls the cord like 3 times, has me spray some ether in, because Lynn won't touch the ether. And he gets the thing to backfire, but that was about it. And he leaves. And I leave because I'm not... I hurt my back, like, pulling the cord so many times, because she doesn't want to do it, and nobody wanted to do it, so I tried. Turns out, with all the fiddling she was doing, she broke the wire, one of the wires that lights the fuel. So, lights broken. She gets another redneck to come over. I don't know how to deal with this. Like, I can get anything started if it isn't broken. I can get anything started if it isn't broken. If it's broken, I deal with animals. Like, I'm not a mechanic. So she gets some guy who's also not a mechanic to come by and tape the wires together. So he tapes the wires together. We no longer have an ignite switch, by the way. This thing is constantly on ignite. Oh, God. The color changed. Am I looking a little green to you? Oh, what is this? Whatever. We have no ignition, which means we can't turn it off. the only way to turn it off is to just throw the choke up. Alright, so I hope we never have another power outage. So we've been working with that, just like keeping it full, turning off for as short a time as possible. And then Lynn starts freaking about the oil. And I'm like, alright, like you really should check the oil. So we look at it and it's like pretty full, but it's not to the line, and I'm like, let's not touch it. Like, we have obviously lost our privileges, and by we, I mean you. You have lost your privileges with this machine. Like, you couldn't get started, you broke it once, like, leave it the fuck alone. And she's like, okay. She's like, no, I really need to put oil in it. I'm gonna think about it all day. If we don't put oil in it, I'm like, I can't, we need to put oil in it. I think it's a good idea to put oil in it. We really just need to put, I need to do this before you go, just so you know, and I know exactly how much is in there. And she talks with her eyes shut and panics, like, it goes from, like, 0 to hyperventilating instantaneously. I don't think we can do this all on our own, and I need to add the oil. I need to add the oil. So I'm like, slow down, crazy. Like, sure, add some oil. Like, you're making me late anyway by talking to me. Why don't you make me late doing something productive? Because, like, by the way, this is at, like, 5:30 in the morning, because, like, she heard me get up and wanted to make sure I didn't break the generator by not breaking the generator. So she puts oil in it, and I'm like, see you later. Like, she's all, like, looking at it and, like, wiping it off, and I see she, like, screws it in, pulls it out, it's at a good level. I'm like, oh, that looks great, I'm gonna go to work now. And I ran. And I see her, like, putting the oil back together, putting it in the bag, putting it next to the house, like, doing all the stuff you're supposed to do, and I just walk away. And I get a call from her at work about an hour later saying, the generator shut off and I think I broke it. And I'm like, well, you probably did. Like, you have a history. And, yeah, she didn't screw the oil cap back in. And in doing that, she sees the engine, because the cap came flying out, all the oil came out, and without oil, an engine is not lubricated and it will seize the fuck up. So she seized up the engine, and I told her she seized up the engine, and she got somebody to come out, and, like, by the grace of God, it kind of works now. So, like, we have no way to start it, we have no way to stop it, and it's kind of ghetto now anyway. Like, the power kind of, like, will randomly go, like, whereas, like, before it was steady. Actually, just a couple minutes ago, the lights went, like, all the way down, and then, like, super bright, and then, like, back to normal. And that's just our new normal. And I've been buying gas. It's coming off of my rent, and because it's gasoline powered, it's not diesel. Thank God. Like, she could never start a diesel on her own. Anyway. I just shake my head. She's in charge of it. It randomly turns off. Like, when it has half a tank, it'll start kicking and die. So about every 5 hours it needs to get filled. So it's about 9:30. I fill it before I go to bed at 10. And then, when I say I mean I drag her outside and I make her do it, because the way she works, if I'm with her when it breaks one more time, she's probably going to blame everything on me, even though none of it's my fault. And it'll go till 3 in the morning, and then it'll start kicking, and then she'll get up and she'll deal with it, because it's right outside her door. It's also right underneath the trees that are on my roof, because she wanted it to be in the shade. Yeah, that also means it's right outside my window, so, like, that lovely, that melody you've been hearing this whole time, that's the goddamn generator. So those are my generator struggles. And, like, trust me, I am really grateful to have heat and power. I would love to have real power. I would love to be able to take a shower with the lights on, because right now it's one or the other, and that's a little creepy. I'd like to do my laundry. I cut my finger. See that? That little beauty? And the other night when I heard the generator kicking and didn't realize that it was just like, oh, it needs gas or something, I like jumped up and slammed this on the corner of my mirror and got blood all over my sheets, and I'm cheap and I only have one set of sheets for this size bed, and now I'm sleeping with blood next to my head because, like, my mom told me that the washing machine could kill a generator, and like I said, I'm not going to be the one to kill the generator. So, yeah, this has been an ordeal. It's been expensive, and I just want it to be over. When it's over, I'm also going to have to, like, see my landlord a little less, which would be great, because, like, I've been thinking this to myself all day. Like, it must be tough when your IQ is lower than the ambient temperature in a room with no heat in the winter. It's gotta be tough. Alright, well, that's my rant. I'll talk to you later. Bye.